Episode 1 of Criminal Minds, Evolution Season 3 picks up 6 months after Voight is attacked in prison. The scene cuts to a man smoking as he waits for someone to exit a store. The man secretly takes a video of his victim before approaching him and asking for directions. Unaware of the danger he is in, the victim offers to help the unsub. Suddenly, the unsub sprays something into the victim's face, and he falls to the ground. A police car drives by and sees the victim lying on the ground. The officer is tricked by the unsub to think the victim is drunk. The unsub lies that the victim is his brother, and they are on their way home. The good officer helps the unsub load the victim into the car, and they drive off. The next thing, we know the victim's body is discovered in Ocean City, MD, floating on the beach. As the local sheriff takes witness statements, the BAU team arrives and examines the body. It turns out that this is the 4th body found on a beach. The unsub punctures multiple holes on his victim's chests. The BAU believes this is the unsub's signature. He does this to ensure the body sinks in the salty water. The following day, Tyler reports for work, and the team incessantly teases him for carrying a mock gun. Tyler is still in training and has yet to be cleared for field work. Fortunately, he is carrying a knife in case he needs it. Luke asks him to present the case. We learn that there have been 5 victims. The police are yet to identify the first 2. Based on the wounds on the victims, the BAU thinks the stabbing is a countermeasure, until they figure out the names of the first victims. They don't have an accurate timeline. Meanwhile, Rossi is in a bad mood thanks to the OPR FBI's internal affairs investigation into him. They believe Rossi was behind Voight's attack in prison. They have interviewed him 6 times over the past 6 months. Rossi has stuck to his story that he is innocent, but the OPR agent isn't buying it. This time, she asks if Rossi can prove his innocence. Of course he can't. Off the record, Rossi points out that if he wanted Voight dead, he would be. The scene cuts to Garcia at Voight's side at the hospital. Emily finds it strange to see Garcia there. She explains that Voight is in a medically induced coma. The doctors found his brain scan abnormal, as it showed years of brain trauma. This is unusual since Voight was not an athlete, and those kinds of injuries mostly happen to athletes. A nurse comes to change Voight's medication, and Emily shows Garcia a drill. If Voight wakes up and moves, the alarm immediately goes off. Emily is also worried about Rossi. She is curious to find out how Voight survived the attack. Meanwhile, JJ is stressed over her mother-in-law's upcoming visit. Simultaneously, Tara is concerned about her dad meeting Rebecca for the first time. She is not sure he will be able to handle her being in a queer relationship. The team holds a brief, and Tyler shares that the last victim has been identified. His name is David Hartley, and since he was discovered early, there are some clues in his ME report. Traces of aerosolized fentanyl were found in his lungs. It was enough to temporarily knock him down. There was also brown residue found in his teeth. This leads the team to realize the unsub is first drowning the victims in his pool before dumping their bodies in the ocean. The scene cuts to the unsub drowning another victim in his pool and taking a video. Elsewhere, Emily encourages Rossi to look over the incident report from Voight's prison attack. Initially, Rossi is hesitant as he doesn't want Voight in his head again. However, after looking into the report, he gets a clue. The next day, he asks Emily to get him clearance to visit the prison. Back to the case, Tara suggests they look into cases of people with water trauma. Garcia interrupts the lunch and reveals she has found a clue. All the identified victims visited a site called Air, Beach, and Bed. The BAU calls the shareholders of the site and delivers the profile to them. Obviously, the BAU knows the shareholders, won't admit to anything, but they hope to use body language to identify someone who can help them. Tyra calls Rebecca to help them. They deliver the profile to the shareholders and narrow down a willing former soldier to secretly help. Meanwhile, the unsub kidnaps a family of 3, mom, daughter, and dad. He brings them to his pool and shoots the dad when he refuses to get in the pool. The mom convinces the daughter to get into the pool. They do their best to save their energy as they plot an escape. However, the unsub gets impatient and releases the swimming pool cover. Back in the BAU, Luke talks to Garcia about her empathy for Voight. She assures him that Voight still has some humanity in him, but Luke thinks otherwise. As they talk, Garcia manages to identify the first victims. This is mostly due to the help of the soldier who allowed them access to the back end of the site. The identity of the first victims allows them to narrow down the unsub search geographically. Luke asks Garcia to also run a search of private pools that are big enough for an adult human to drown in. In the meantime, Rossi visits the prison and finds the shank that Voight used on his attackers. While running her search, Garcia discovers the latest victims who have been reported missing. Her two other searches lead them to Franklin. His parents and sister drowned in the family pool when he was 10. At the time, the police suspected Franklin of killing his parents but couldn't prove it. Franklin's dad was a drunk lifeguard who tortured Franklin for failing his swimming test multiple times. The BAU believe seeing the Estes family at the beach reminded Franklin of his family. They believe it is why he escalated to taking 3 victims at once. The team arrives in time to save Vivian and Christy Estes. However, Franklin kills himself after saying that all this was according to plan. After the case, Rossi reports to Emily that OPR are starting to back off after he found Voight's weapon. Sadly, Rossi is not in the clear yet, but it is a good start. Emily shares that Franklin's last words were suspicious. The IT team found out that Franklin uploaded his victims' videos to a dark website. The site has similarities to the one Voight made. Emily fears there is a link between the unsub and Voight. Rossi is also thinking the same, as he doesn't trust Voight. The episode ends with Voight waking up from his coma and strangling the nurse. The minute he moves his hands to grab her neck, the alarms go off.